Hi, it's me, Emmy! And today we are talking about A Wheel of Time episode 2. A reminder, this review and recap is obviously spoiler filled. Episode 2 of A Wheel of Time opens on this sweet, young, innocent boy performing the most terrifying task of his life, delivering food to a white cloak who is looking straight at us as he burns an Aes Sedai alive a couple feet away. He's drinking blood, he loves torture, but he does have a sense of style and a job. I'm a sucker for white and gold. Okay? He's our introduction to this group of militant anti-magic Looney Tunes that don't all drink blood from what I'm guessing, but are cool hanging out with people that do. Moraine teaches us that Trolloc fear deep water, so they make way for a bridge to cross the river. Which one? There's two. There's only two. It's the two rivers. Anyway, Matt says some girl boss shit about Moraine not being a lady that ever takes no for an answer. And she takes the girl boss bait and she says, "No, I'm not." And we all have a cheeky little laugh until this fucker shows up. It's the eyeless. He has no eyes. Wish someone had warned me about the teeth though. I love how Trollocs like shake their weapon and shit at being commanded to cross the river when they don't want to. Yes, bitch, workers' rights. We get a moment with the kids, the 4 country bumpkins that are going along on this whirlwind adventure. They are kind of wary about this whole situation with Mr. Bridge Guy, who is really mad at Moraine for basically destroying the only means he has to get back to his family. Like, they had no choice. They had to destroy the only means that the Trollocs had of crossing the river. It's clearly very effective because the eyeless does that mouth thing. I hate it. I don't like it. I mean, I love it, but I don't like it. You know what I mean? This gives us a moment between Rand and Lan. They have a moment where we clearly see Lan say silently, "Don't even try it." That's gonna happen a couple times throughout this episode when Rand really needs to be reminded that he should not try it. Rand is getting like salty and suspicious about this whole Moraine thing, but I feel like a snack would clear this all up. Babe, I think you're hangry. You know what I mean? The road is hard, I'll say that much. Here's a Snickers. His saltiness surrounding the whole Moraine situation is only intensified when he spies Moraine waking Egwene in the dead of night. Moraine takes Egwene to the forest where she kind of goes over the rules of the Aes Sedai for us, the audience. 1, the Aes Sedai cannot lie. 2, they can't make weapons for killing. 3, they can only use their power of the One in self-defense, either of her own life, her order's life, or other Aes Sedai. And that these rules are built into the magic itself. They don't have the power to violate them, but they have ways of working around that. We get this whole moment between Egwene and Moraine where Egwene is very like suspiciously like eager to hear what Moraine has to say about her magic. We learn here is that their two magics are not that different from one another at all. It's a very like manipulative, and you can see Moraine is working for her own ends here, but it's brilliant. She looks up at Egwene and she's like, "You don't listen to the wind, Egwene. The wind listens to you." I was so happy for Egwene. She deserves it. I trust her. If anyone should get the wind, it's Egwene, right? You know what I mean? So anyway, this kind of suggests that the wisdom's magic and the more elite magic of the Aes Sedai are not that different from one another. No, Rand and Egwene are on some like rocky terms right now. And they have an awkward moment. We see that Rand is pulling away, even though the threat of like Egwene immediately being out of his life is out of the picture, kind of, now that Nynaeve's mentorship isn't keeping them apart. There's still this looming threat of the White Tower, but more importantly, she had essentially rejected him and his dreams once. Even though Rand is uncertain of their future, he knows what Egwene did in the past. We get this scene between Egwene and Perrin where Perrin's like, "Do you think we'll ever go back?" And Egwene is very sure in her answer and she says no. Ooh, chills. Then we take a quick detour into my nightmare where Rand coughs up a bat. This isn't great. It gets worse when a figure with glowing ember eyes visits his dream. He wakes up and it turns out like everyone had this shared dream of the bat thing. For some reason, this little idiot accuses Moraine of being responsible and he steps to her, dude. Okay, Rand steps to Moraine and Lan and Moraine both just go. I do like Rand. When I called him a little idiot, sometimes when somebody's so much hotter than you are and you have the same kind of haircut gold. Anyway, I'm annoyed by this little goober again, and so is Moraine, because she basically tells him he can come or not, but they're running out of time. And she leaves. She bounces. Lan follows, kind of. And Matt and Rand will flip-flop, scolding each other on their treatment of Miranda for like the rest of the episode. This time Matt is chastising gently Rand into basically like calming down. They have a very good chemistry that makes it believable that they're both kind of hot-headed and can talk each other down. This gets less believable just because it flip-flops so much about who has the cooler head. Right now, it's good. So we come across this band of white cloaks led by a silver fox and the man we saw earlier, the scary one drinking blood. We come to know him as something called a questioner, something of a higher religious order rather than like military might. So we'll get more info on that, I guess, as the season progresses. So he's jingling these bells, but it turns out those are rings from Aes Sedai sisters. Oh no, and Moraine recognizes them. Moraine pretends to be a lady of a fallen house, which I guess is technically true, gets by without lying just by the skin of her teeth. Also learn that Aes Sedai can't heal their own wounds with their magic. Other Aes Sedai and magic users can. In a weird twist, what I thought were anti-magic zealots give Moraine the advice to find an Aes Sedai to treat this magical wound. I guess it's like known that they're the only ones that can, but wouldn't you think an anti-magic organization would be anti-magic in all circumstances? Like, when do they permit the use of Aes Sedai magic? We don't really get an answer to that in this episode, but I trust the season's gonna sprinkle it to us. The four could-be dragons start singing the song Weep for Minithrin, and Moraine tops them all in this scene by telling them a super bummer history about the actual city of Minithrin. Ah, it's so good. It kills the mood just immediately. It's so righteous. Moraine and Lan debate using something called the Lost City as a shield. In just a couple moments, we'll come to know that the Lost City is Minithrin, fallen. Moraine insists that the Lost City is a no-go, but Lan points out that the Trollocs will not follow them. Nothing will follow them into the Lost City. But we have to suspect there's a reason for that, right? Okay, this scene is really confusing to me. I don't think that it's well established that this is a dream sequence. Unless there's going to be a running theme where reality is like slowly melding into dream world with Perrin. It's not established in the show whether this is reality or fiction. So he gets cornered in the woods by a pack of wolves who see this wound on his leg, and they're all barking, and then one comes up and licks his leg wound, and then they run away. And he just lets it happen, and we don't see him tell anyone, and we all just move on. Our ragtag little band of adventurers is then basically forced into the Lost City. Moraine is fighting for her life as this magical wound is magically infected, irritated. Lan instructs the group to stick together and not touch anything. So the group splits up and touches everything. Fortunately for Rand and Egwene, it's just each other. Unfortunately for Perrin, it's his heart, but I guess it's only metaphorical as Matt gives him a knife that his late wife made, and they tell a really sweet story, and suddenly, I'm not crying, you're fucking crying. Matt is stirred by a voice in the night and goes to follow it without letting anyone know where he's going or what he heard, because men can be real nightmares sometimes. He finds a suspicious inscribed box in something called the Lost City, where he was instructed not to touch anything, and opens the box, where he finds a suspiciously inscribed knife, takes the knife and unsheaths the suspiciously inscribed knife. And then all hell breaks loose. Oh, who saw that coming? Maybe the person that told you not to touch anything in something called the Lost City, maybe that person. Deadly malaise starts like pursuing them. It's crazy. He wakes up and basically says something really unhelpful in the moment, suggesting that Lan's decision-making to bring them into the dead city was not in line with her 2021 goals. Heard. I hear you. Group is split up. Moraine and Lan together, Egwene and Perrin together, and then Matt and Rand. Egwene and Perrin are forced to dive into this ocean from a height that should have probably killed them, but would have been a nicer death than whatever was waiting for them in the Lost City. Rand and Matt use the sewer. It's hilarious. Lan and Moraine found a more elegant escape route, but all in all, they really effed this one up. This is not This is not a girl boss moment for anyone. This was a very bad turnout for our little party here. Moraine is approaching death. Lan has no choice. He's gotta like make camp for the night. He finally gets a moment to catch his breath, and then a fucking knife at his neck, dude! Do you know who it is? You don't. It's Nine-Nate. This absolute god. She says, if you don't take me to them right now, I'll slit your throat. That's the episode! That's the episode. That's episode 2 of A Wheel of Time. I hope you enjoyed this recap. If you're as excited as I am for Wheel of Time episode 3, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and OnlyFans for all of your content in the interim, and I will see you next time. Thanks. Bye-bye.